Yesterday, I was talking about the name of God as God of hosts or Lord of hosts. Today, we're tying this into Joel and specifically chapter 2, which we've been working through if you've been studying along with me. So, knowing that the Lord is sovereign over all things, not just on earth, but in the universe, that he affects the angels and the heavenly beings, the sun, the moon, the stars. He affects peoples on earth, kingdoms on earth, grasshoppers, locusts, things like that. All of these things God uses for his purpose in his universal sovereignty. In Joel, we are reading about the people of Judah who have returned from exile, where God had used, which it tells us in Jerrmiah 29:4, that God, the Lord of hosts, used the kingdom of Babylon to come against them as a consequence for their sin. Here we see in Joel chapter 2, verse 11, that a lot of the things they've returned to, again, are attributed to the armies of the Lord, so the Lord of hosts. Even though he's not called by name, it is saying, this is my hand at work. It says, the Lord utters his voice at the head of his army. How vast is his host. Numberless are those who obey his command. Think about that. God knows what's happening because he is saying, execute my will here. But God also uses his compassion to restore. Because we understand that sometimes when we have punishment, that there is a time of restoration needed. And we continue in Joel seeing that the Lord of hosts recognizes that his hosts can sometimes do things within his will that leave pain and sorrow behind. Verse 25, I will repay you for the years that the swarming locust has eaten, the hopper, the destroyer, and the cutter, my great army, which I sent against you. You shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord your God, who has dealt wondrously with you. God is universally sovereign. He can bring good, he can bring consequence for our sin. We are truly powerless before him. We have free will to make decisions. There are consequences of those decisions. But we also know that we serve a compassionate, loving, gracious God who, when we truly turn to him and say, God, you are my God, he not only relents, he restores. So take that to mind today and know that the God of hosts, with his powerfulness, is also super loving toward you. Something to consider.